Lesson 5, Healthy Living. We will continue now and cover the non-financial or other elements I alluded to within the Goots model, all of which are very important. There is an old saying that if you don't have your health, you have nothing. I found this to be very, very true. And so, get out of the health system is where we're heading right now. But first, I'd like to share with you my story. We all have our stories when it comes to our health. I did not take the so-called vax, but suffered as a COVID long hauler. To make matters worse, I was the recipient of the shedding. Shedding, as you may or may not know, is when someone who has recently been vaxxed has shed the poisons outside of their body to another. I was quite ill for over 2 years with multiple manifestations from serious vascular issues of great concern to graphene oxide and spike proteins in my system, my brainstem and other areas, to excessive weight loss, digestive issues, parasites, a black lung, and I've never smoked, brain fog, and more. All while forming and running American Media Periscope, or AMP News, I might add, which included, at the time, me speaking at the General Flynn Clay Clark Reawaken Tour as a platform speaker and also with our team as a media partner. Sick as I was, I knew better not to go to a hospital, believe it or not, after witnessing the COVID operation unfold and following many tragic events at the hands of hospitals, doctors, nurses, and administrators. I'm sure you listening right now have stories very similar in your circles of life and living. I can cite numerous firsthand examples of people I know, some of which died at the hands of this corrupt system. It has most recently been reported by Congressman and Dr. Rand Paul that COVID is the greatest cover-up in the history of the world. Rand Paul then stated that they found indisputable evidence that Fauci, better known as, in my view, Dr. Death, is responsible for over 18 million deaths, again, according to Rand Paul. We'll talk about Nuremberg 2.0 a bit further on in the solution section of this lesson. But back to my life stories and life lessons. This brings me to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny and Roger Stone. My good friend, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, of about 10 years now, was able to get hold of hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin for me before it was too late. But being a long hauler, much damage was done, and my journey back to good health went on for another year or more. Regarding hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, I received a call from Pete Santilli, he's a popular podcaster, asking me to reach out to Roger Stone, who just lives three hours from me, lived at the time 3 hours from me in the state of Florida, asking me to reach out to Roger, who has lung issues, and on top of that, contracted COVID at that time and desperately needed help. And his medical resources at the time would not prescribe hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. I reached out to Roger, sent him some of my inventory straight from my medicine cabinet at home, just dropped the pills in a FedEx box, both ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And about a week later, Roger texted me, thanking me for, quote, saving his life. I was very happy to get that text, of course, but I credited President Trump for bringing these drugs to our attention against the big machine that spoke out against ivermectin being an unapproved horse pill and hydroxychloroquine having all kinds of side effects. So I, of course, credited President Trump and my good friend of 10 years, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, for getting me the inventory, which allowed me to pass this along to Roger. I'm sure there are thousands upon thousands of all kinds of COVID psyop tragic stories we all can share. Sadly, again, many tragic. This enters Juan 07. Juan referred me to a highly qualified individual that remains undisclosed in the public square, such as in this masterclass lesson, who was able to determine through sophisticated diagnostics exactly where the graphene oxide and spike proteins were located, as well as many other important criteria concerning my vascular system, along with some natural remedies to combat what was discovered. I thank Juan and I thank this woman. Enter Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood. I met the Sherwoods at the Reawaken tour. They were platform speakers as well, and we began publishing their health show titled Further More on AMP News. I became a patient, and we all became good friends and remain so to this day. In fact, I have an appointment with Dr. Sherwood just to help check on some issues not related to COVID or any of those symptoms um, coming up next week. But extensive blood work back then was done periodically over the first year, and I was primarily treated with many supplements of sorts, many. In essence, I was taking just what my body needed based on detailed blood work and consultation to bring me back to homeostasis, if you will, and get the issues corrected. After about a long, difficult year, I finally received a clean bill of health per the blood reports. My risk of clotting, which was severe, virtually vanished. My immune system was restored. I want to thank once again Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood of Oklahoma. The Sherwoods, along with other medical professionals, are a part of my resource network available to individuals in my that are my Wealth Coach clients. Very important, having the right doctors, the right integrative practices, nutritionists, and so forth to give the body what it needs so that the immune system can do what it's intended to do. That brings me to Genocide Jab, Vaccines, Villains, and Victims. I published this book amidst the created COVID crisis. It is a 5-star rated book on Amazon, and at one point was a bestseller in medicine and science category. A very important read to this day, an incredible resource. You can pick up a copy again at Amazon. But Genocide Jab includes the deep research of 8 well-known medical doctors, a constitutional lawyer, a food scientist, 2 patent experts, a German chemist, and a Spanish biostatistician, and a high-level biotech analyst who has worked for decades in the pharmaceutical industry with companies like J&J and Pfizer. World War is not just on the way. This is not a simulation. It is here. Today's threat is real, making Genocide Jab critically important for widely exposing disruptive, uncomfortable truths. And I want to put a disclaimer here. There are very good doctors, very good nurses, very good administrators, highly qualified and actually care about human health within the system. But I don't need to tell you the system is broken. COVID showed us that. And there are many in there that aren't good. But anyway, back to the book. This book is not about politics. Instead, it puts the evidence before you, showing how we are all participants in this conflict that continues the struggle of good against evil, life versus death. We're under attack when it comes to our health as well. Fluoride in the water, chemtrails in the sky, artificial processed food, GMOs, lab meat, pharmaceuticals, psychiatric and psychotropic drugs, vaccines, 5G. It's all about returning customers, not cures, from the cradle to the grave, treating symptoms, not the cause. While there are many good doctors, nurses, and healthcare practitioners, there are many who are not. Witness what took place during COVID. Greed, corruption, money, misinformation, disinformation, lies, fake science. Many doctors, nurses, admins were aware of the corruption concerning COVID, the so-called science, and the so-called vaccine, but gladly took the funds and administered the jab. Many patients were then isolated from family, not given hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. Many ended up with remdesivir, and then ultimately the ventilator, leading to many of them to their coffins. The cost for such, quote, healthcare in America is astronomical. I'm residing presently in Thailand, and I can assure you the cost of healthcare here is significantly less, and the cost of any medications that may be required is significantly less. And Thailand ranks among the top 20 for healthcare for foreigners abroad. Anyway, so the cost for such healthcare in America is astronomical. The corruption between the government healthcare system and private insurance over the years has imploded upon itself. Obamacare was a disaster. We're going to be fixing all this in the future. We'll get to that. Often horrific, abrupt care, less care, bankrupting the patient financially to boot. Things must change. And as the world awakens, thank God, things are changing. Enter the Trump administration. Progress. The battles have now begun. RFK Jr., as Secretary of HHS, is taking Big Pharma head on, including the NIH, CDC, and the World Health Organization. Issues that are being addressed range from the truth about COVID and the truth about vaccines and the truth about chemtrails. All of this is official within the administration, and actions are being taken. Many of the causes of disease and autism, etc., are now being linked to everything I mentioned earlier on in this lesson. Changes span across a broad spectrum of related issues, such as ceasing big pharma advertising, removing certain ingredients from the food and other related items we ingest. Changes include proper disclosure on such items, controls over the cost of prescription drugs, restructuring what is and is not to be mandatory when it comes to vaccines from the cradle to the grave. Then there are the legal and other tactics to stop this madness. And in my humble opinion, they're just scratching the surface, and it's a big surface to scratch, and a lot of opposition, including the death threats that RFK Jr. has received at his home. Again, as mentioned earlier on in this very lesson, it has most recently been reported, again by Congressman Dr. Rand Paul, that COVID is the greatest cover-up in the history of the world. Rand Paul then stated they found indisputable evidence that Fauci, better known as Dr. Death, as I stated, is responsible for many, many deaths. Nuremberg 2 trials are coming, folks. The individuals in the political, military, and intelligence circles that I speak with on and off camera, including 3-star generals, brigadier generals, lieutenant colonels, special ops, military intelligence, and of course, I've spoken with Dr. Christiane Northrup, Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Sherry Tempany, so many doctors, I can't even recall them all from back in the day. But I speak with these military and intelligence people on and off camera. All have indicated we may very well be establishing what is being called Nuremberg 2.0 to process those suspected of crimes against humanity for individuals such as Dr. Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, and many, many others. This won't happen this year, but in my humble opinion, it's coming in 2026. This COVID pandemic, of course, affected everyone on the planet, and the international courts, as well as Vladimir Putin of Russia, all want to process Fauci and the rest of them. Justice is coming. However, for those that have passed on, those yet to pass on, and many, many others with all kinds of symptoms presently and perhaps yet to come, are victims as well. The healthy, surviving friends and loved ones grieve. Justice must and will be served, but nothing will heal the emotional trauma and grief for the loss of our loved ones. But there is a new day dawning here. We are moving from dark to light as this battle between good and evil is entering at the time of the authorship of this master class into a final face-off. It's either us or them. This is for all the marbles, as the old expression goes. But we're on God's side. God always wins. With what I believe is soon to be the dawning of the golden age, help is on the way. As discussed moments ago, we will be cleaning up the healthcare industry, including the cost. We will be step by step making America healthy again. Those found guilty in military tribunals and/or civilian courts will be punished to the fullest extent and removed from harming humanity ever again. At the same time, suppressed technologies are on the horizon, such as med beds. Oh yes, they're real. They're very real and ready for deployment across this nation and across this world in due time. We are coming to further understanding of vibrations, frequencies, and energy as it relates to health and healing, among many other things. Laws and regulations concerning the healthcare industry will be changing. What is a medbed? Well, it's not magic. It's quantum bioresonance fused with AI diagnostics, scalar frequency, and zero-point field harmonics. Think of it as a quantum MRI or an AI surgeon and cellular regenerations all in one. How does it work? Well, full body quantum scan. Full body quantum scan scans your biofield, your body's energetic blueprint, detects anomalies at the subatomic level long before symptoms. Quantum sensors read your body like a hyperdimensional fingerprint. We talk about cellular time reversal. This taps into your original DNA blueprint, uses field harmonics to remind your cells of their ideal state. It doesn't just treat it, it restores it. We're talking now about zero-point energy field. Draws limitless energy from the quantum vacuum. Cells absorb this power to accelerate, repair, and restore harmony. This isn't energy healing, it's quantum field engineering. Scalar frequency correction. This sends targeted scalar waves to reprogram damaged cells. Think frequency acupuncture. No needles, only light and precision. Tumors, inflation, scar tissue, neutralized. It reminds me of Nikola Tesla. Perhaps we'll mention him later, who spoke about the secrets of the universe. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. This brings us to another aspect of medbeds. Who controls this technology? Classified military medical programs, breakaway scientific divisions. The same forces behind quantum finance, which I cover in my weekly GFR shows, AI defense, and free energy. It's all connected. So why is this happening now? Because the financial reset, quantum computing boom, and collapse of health tech suppression are all converging simultaneously. No coincidence, no accidents. God's divine plan being executed from President Trump on down. They mocked medbeds to make you laugh. But now they'll launch them as a miracle when the old world collapses, which has just begun. This isn't sci-fi, it's classified technology bleeding slowly into the public reality. The future is not about pills and surgery. It's about energy, frequency, and restoring the original blueprint. They've had the cure. They've just kept the key. So in conclusion, it's basic when it comes down to it. Of course, exercise, sleep, garbage in, garbage out, eat healthy food, not processed or GMO, understand the benefits and use of supplements and herbs and many other natural remedies. Chiropractic care, consider a relationship with perhaps an integrative doctor. I'll tell you one thing. You might inquire as to what he or she's position is. You should ask them that. What is their position on COVID and vaccines? And you're interviewing perhaps a new team of healthcare professionals. And this may help serve as your compass as to whom you should trust your health and your life with. While things of this nature indeed will take time to manifest into our lives, nothing's going to happen quickly. Some things will move fast. Some things are going to take months, years, decades. It's like a big barge that's been going, full speed in the ocean in one direction. It takes a long time to stop that direction, turn it around, and speed up in the other direction. So while things of this nature indeed will take time to manifest into our lives, at least we have begun to turn this healthcare barge in the deep sea around towards the right direction. Help is on the way. For some of us, like myself and others older than me, we're a little bit more advanced in age. We'll get benefit from this, but think about posterity. Think about your children and grandchildren. What have we always wanted to do is leave a better opportunity, a better world behind. And boy, we're nowhere near that today, but we're getting there. So the course correction for mankind is underway. Many have woken up to the threat, but a large portion of the masses are still unaware, leaving themselves open to avoidable ill health and worse. This drains funds from families who send their savings to insurance and drug companies, to doctors and hospitals, infirmity that slowly bleeds them dry, after which the population controllers achieve their ultimate goal, taking us out over time while not being able to pin it on them. The covert battle happening right now is billions of honorable, average people against a relatively small group of world-controlling depopulationists. A great poisoning is the real pandemic. It's us or them. So please do join the fight. Continue to expose the lies and reveal the truth and follow the work of RFK Jr. So why is healthy living a part of the Goots model? Because the healthcare industrial complex is well revealed now, thanks to President Trump and thanks now to RFK Jr. and many others. So, and all the brave doctors. I mentioned some of them before. There were many others. I don't have their names scripted into this lesson right now, but you know who they are. So we must all do our research, do our homework, and seek qualified medical counsel when needed to see that we are the best stewards of what God has given us, our bodies and our life. So the key takeaway from this brief but very important lesson is get out of the healthcare system, get out of the traps, read Genocide Jab and other materials. And as they say, if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Yes, med beds and more are coming. Help is indeed on the way. I'll see you in the next lesson.